I want to take a moment to address some important conversations happening across the WNBA, including remarks made earlier this week by Nafisa Collier. First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Nafisa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better.
Imagine your boss telling you that only losers complain when you bring up a serious problem at work. That's allegedly what WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert told one of her star players. And it gets worse. She also reportedly said players should be on their knees, thanking their lucky stars for the deals she got them. These comments sparked a league-wide firestorm, forcing Engelbert into the most desperate damage control tour we've seen in sports. Now she's suddenly talking about respect and listening to feedback. But this stunning 180 isn't just a PR move. It's a sign that the players are in open revolt, and the commissioner has completely lost control.
Great these players are on and off the court, how much they mean to our league, our fans, and our communities. If they don't feel that, I will do everything I can to change that. No one should ever doubt how deeply I care about this league, this game, and every single player who makes the WNBA what it is. So we value feedback, we listen to criticism, we remain committed to engaging in the difficult but necessary conversations that ultimately make us all stronger and better.
The entire firestorm was ignited by one of the league's most respected players, Nafisa Collier. During a press conference, she unleashed a bombshell, revealing details of private conversations with Engelbert that painted a grim picture of the league's leadership. Collier claimed that when she raised concerns about inconsistent officiating, Engelbert's response was, "Only losers complain about the refs." Even more shocking were Engelbert's alleged comments about the financial realities of the league's brightest new stars. When asked how the league planned to address the fact that players like Caitlin Clark are driving massive revenue while on meager rookie contracts, Engelbert's reported answer was that Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. As if that wasn't damaging enough, Collier added that Engelbert told her players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. These alleged remarks were not just dismissive, they were a direct challenge to the very players who are the lifeblood of the league.
Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier blasted WNBA leadership in her exit interview on Tuesday, accusing League Commissioner Cathy Engelbert of being, quote, negligent in her governance. A moment ago, Caitlin Clark spoke on the matter. Take a listen.
First of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And, I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said, and I think the points she made were very valid.
Collier's explosive claims didn't just go viral, they started a league-wide movement. Player after player came forward to back her up, transforming a single act of defiance into a unified front against the league's leadership. Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham didn't hold back, stating she was just tired of our league, and that there are a lot of people in position of power in the WNBA who they might be really great business people, but they don't know say about basketball. The support wasn't limited to veterans. The face of the league's newfound popularity, Caitlin Clark, threw her considerable weight behind Collier. In a carefully worded but powerful statement, Clark affirmed, "I have great respect for Fee and I think she made a lot of very valid points." She emphasized that this is the most important moment in this league's history and a time that requires great leadership. With stars like Aja Wilson also expressing their disgust, it became clear this was no longer a private dispute. It was a public rebellion.
And better. As it relates to officiating and gameplay on the court, we hear the concerns, we take them seriously. Our game is faster, featuring more talent, and the game is more competitive than ever before. And with that evolution, game rules, interpretation, and officiating has to keep pace. Every major sport goes through this. Rules evolve, officiating adapts, standards shift. Alongside the growth of the game, the WNBA is no different. At the conclusion of the season, as we do every year, the league's competition committee will meet to evaluate the state of the game, which includes game rules, officiating, and player safety on the court.
Facing an unprecedented player revolt, Cathy Engelbert stepped in front of the cameras for her WNBA Finals press conference and delivered a masterclass in corporate damage control. Gone was the allegedly dismissive executive, replaced by a commissioner suddenly filled with deep respect and concern for her players. She spoke of being disheartened to hear that players felt the league and she personally did not care about them. In a move that surprised no one paying attention, she announced the formation of a new State of the Game committee to address the very officiating issues players had been complaining about for months. This committee, she explained, would give players and other stakeholders a voice. It was a textbook PR maneuver, an attempt to show action without admitting fault. While she flatly denied making the alleged comments about Caitlin Clark, her responses to other pointed questions were evasive, often falling back on the classic "there's a lot of inaccuracy out there" line.
Stakeholders' eyes. There are no greater stakeholders than our players. Their voice is integral to the alignment that is required for good officiating, and we look forward to including their perspectives on how our staff can better serve the game moving forward. So through the competition committee and the State of the Game committee I've mentioned, we will take a hard look at what the proper line should be for good, aggressive play that we recognize has evolved into rough play, and how to calibrate the line for legal and illegal contact to ensure player safety and exciting competition.
In what became the most talked about moment of her press conference, Engelbert attempted to pivot from corporate leader to sympathetic figure. "I'm a human too," she stated. "I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments." It was a plea for empathy that landed with a thud. The irony was lost on no one. While her children were devastated by words on the internet, players were dealing with the real-world consequences of what they saw as neglectful leadership, from careers threatened by on-court physicality to the frustration of feeling unheard. The "I have kids" defense rang hollow, and further highlighted the deep disconnect between the commissioner's office and the lived experiences of her players. Let's be clear about the unspoken truth driving this entire saga: the Caitlin Clark effect. Engelbert's stunning reversal wasn't born from a sudden epiphany. It was a calculated business decision. Caitlin Clark's arrival has been nothing short of transformational for the WNBA. Viewership is shattering records, merchandise is flying off the shelves, and the league is finally capturing mainstream attention. Clark isn't just a player, she's an economic engine. Engelbert's alleged comments about Clark being grateful for the platform were not just insulting, they were a colossal strategic blunder. She appeared to be taking credit for a phenomenon she didn't create and alienating the very superstar who holds the key to the league's future prosperity. Her press conference praise of Clark as a transformational player was a necessary if transparent attempt to walk back from a ledge of her own making. Despite Engelbert's carefully crafted performance, the players were not convinced. Her words of contrition were seen by many as too little, too late. The damage had been done and trust had been broken. The rhetoric from players grew more intense, shifting from complaints to open threats. Sophie Cunningham put the league on notice, suggesting that a lockout was a very real possibility. "I promise you we aren't going to play until they give us what we deserve," she warned, calling the situation a potential full-scale player revolt. With the collective bargaining agreement set to expire, the timing of this leadership crisis couldn't be worse for the league. The players, feeling empowered and unified, are signaling they are ready to fight for a transformational new deal, and they won't be placated by committees and empty promises. The controversy didn't stay within the basketball world for long. Major sports media outlets jumped on the story, with commentators like Stephen A. Smith calling for Engelbert's resignation. Fans took to social media, overwhelmingly siding with the players. The hashtag #FireCathy trended, and Engelbert's press conference was dissected and mocked in real time. Her denial of the comments was met with widespread disbelief, with many pointing out that her carefully worded statements never explicitly refuted all of Collier's claims. The public perception was clear: the commissioner had lost the trust of her players, and by extension the fans. While many players spoke out in support of Collier, the silence from some of the league's biggest and most established superstars was just as telling. While they may have offered private support, their public reticence to defend the commissioner spoke volumes. In a league where star power drives so much of the conversation, the lack of a vocal defense for Engelbert from its most prominent faces was a clear sign of just how isolated she had become. This silence was a quiet but powerful vote of no confidence, further underscoring the deep division between the players and the league office. This explosive confrontation didn't happen in a vacuum. For years, there has been a simmering frustration among players regarding a perceived disconnect with the league's leadership. Issues like the prioritization of business interests over player welfare, a lack of transparency in decision-making, and a feeling of being undervalued have been common complaints. Engelbert's alleged comments were simply the spark that ignited a long smoldering fire. This history of dissatisfaction explains why the player revolt was so swift and widespread. It was the culmination of years of pent-up frustration. Cathy Engelbert's stunning 180 was more than just a public relations spectacle. It was a clear signal of a seismic power shift within the WNBA. But players, led by courageous voices like Nafisa Collier and backed by the undeniable influence of superstars like Caitlin Clark, have seized control of the narrative. They are no longer willing to be silent partners in their own league. This isn't just about one commissioner's controversial comments. It's about a generation of athletes demanding the respect, accountability, and investment they have earned. The question that hangs over the league is no longer if Cathy Engelbert can save her job, but whether the league's leadership is ready to truly listen and build a future where the players are not just the product, but the priority. The next chapter of the WNBA will be written by them, and they are demanding a league they can be proud of.